You can leave it up. Okay, I think I got us live, so I'm going to start letting people into the room.
Okay, awesome.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And thank you to those who are watching us live on Facebook and YouTube. I'm just going to wait a minute or two to let people get connected, but feel free to share in the chat your name and where you're joining in from, and if you're affiliated with a particular faith community or an interfaith or ecumenical community. Thank you all so much for starting to share that information in the chat. It's great to see many familiar faces here with us this evening. So I'm going to go ahead and just get started with the introductions. My name is Geneva Blackmer. I'm the interim director for the Interfaith Center at Miami University. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization that seeks to unify people through relationship building, dialogue, and social action. And I'm very happy to welcome Pennie Owens here with us today. Pennie is a leadership empowerment consultant with a background as a spiritual purpose coach with over 15 years of experience guiding professionals and entrepreneurs to live in their purpose. Overcoming the challenges of disability, she has become an award-winning, internationally recognized leader in empowerment and entrepreneurship, turning inspiration into action. She's also the most recent addition to the Interfaith Center's Board of Trustees. So I'm very happy to welcome her to our board, additionally to all of her other accomplishments. Her favorite pastime is creating memories with her husband and 7 children. So today she'll be speaking on the topic of unlocking your spiritual purpose, a workshop designed to provide clarity on the journey of discovering one's true identity. Through practical tools and insights, she will offer guidance on unlocking full potential and living with purpose. So with that, Pennie, I'm going to turn it over to you to get started with your presentation.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Geneva. And yes, I am very excited about these opportunities of working with you, not just now, but on the board as well. The Interfaith Center is very special, and I am privileged to be a part of that now. So I can't wait to see what the journey brings. And yes, today we are speaking about unlocking your spiritual purpose. That is something that we spend our whole lives seeking and looking for answers for, and we don't always get the clarity that we need to feel secure in that region. So I want to break it down and make it simpler for you so that you walk away today having a very clear picture of what I need to do to find out who I am and what I was created to be. So I like to start my workshops with a prayer just to help everyone feel like they're present and to feel better about the information that you receive. So whether you open or close your eyes, I just want to get that started for us. Lord, I say thank you for this moment that we are about to receive. Touch each and every single one of us and highlight the strengths and the core of us so that we know what's present and what's relevant. Get rid of everything else that's going to distract us, that's going to separate us from your purpose. Highlight this moment, highlight the things that we are individually supposed to keep, and do not distract us with the things that are not for us. Let us walk away in a better place that we started. Thank you for this moment, and amen. So, like I said, this worksheet, I put together a workbook for each of us that I will put into the chat so that you can go through it personally. It breaks down 9 different activities that you can work through yourself on your own time. You know what your schedule permits, and you know what questions that you have. Each and every single one of us are on a different part of our journey. Some are in the inquisitive stage where we really just have no answers and we don't know who we are. And others are more in tune of who we are. They have lived more life, had more experience, so you have more clarity in some areas. You're not as brand new. So there's some activities that you may not need to participate in. But as I go through it, just try to feel what is for you and that you can understand what questions you may need to ask in real time. When I present this, if you see that there are areas that you have not done recently, like questions that you haven't asked yourself, then make sure that you take the time to go through the worksheet just so you can get a updated answer for yourself. Life changes all the time. Our situations, our age, our bodies, our mentality, things change on a regular basis. So we have to be very mindful and intentional with making sure that we are present in our thoughts and in our energy. That helps us to make sure that we are in alignment with our purpose for our lives. Too often we don't actually update. And if we update ourselves the way that we do our computers and our phones, we'd be in a better place. We would be in a much better place. So I'm going to help you to do that. Now, is my screen showing okay? Is it just?
So I was trying to message you in the chat, but I'm seeing only the Zoom screen and not your slides. I think
I'll move that.
there you go. Yeah, no problem.
How is that? Is
There you
that better?
go. That's
See?
better.
Okay. Now I want to make sure, do I need to adjust it? I'm going to
If
I'm going to
if you
read
can,
through the Zoom so that I'm going to read through what it presents so that everyone can hear it better. But I'm also going to, I guess I can download it. Can I share it in the chat? And then that way you will have it yourself.
yeah, you can do that, but you can also, if you just zoom in a little bit, I think it'll be more legible. Yeah, there we go. That's
Is that better?
yeah.
Okay. And then I'll scroll through. All right. So here are some of the key benefits of identifying your purpose. Live out your potential. To be confident in your abilities and tackle challenges without hesitation. Let go of old cycles, patterns, and behaviors and become super vigilant. We all want to live out our potential. There are too often that we are not using all the parts of us that make us who we are. So a lot of it is just kind of going dormant. But there are things and parts of you that they should be highlighted on a regular basis, and it will give you that sense of I am being who I was meant to be. A lot of times in life, we get told that certain things may be too active or you don't need that. You don't need that for this field. And we put it to the side. But I'm here to tell you that who you are lies in all the things that come natural to you. Clarifying our goals and accountability. Have actionable steps with every goal. Be confident in your decisions and take responsibility for your actions and commitments. You should know what you're doing and why you're doing it. You're the only person that can hold yourself accountable. It's very helpful to have others to help you in your journey, but it's up to you to do the work and to make sure that you do and get what is important to you. Manage stress and renew a perspective. Manage your stress and ensure long-term well-being with periodic reflection to maintain clarity and energy. If you know how to reset in between your moments, you're less likely to take stress from one area into another area of your life. The things that you do at home, they follow you to work and vice versa. The things that happen at work come with you at home. But if you know how to slow down time to transition a little bit clearer, you'll have less stress from one to the other. You kind of keep it all in perspective of what is causing what stress so that it doesn't bleed over. Transforming limiting beliefs. Change all negative things in your life into positive and eliminate the limiting beliefs and choosing empowering beliefs for yourself. Too often, we live with the things that we have been taught when we were younger, and it follows us for the rest of our lives. We usually do this because we are loyal to who we think we are, and we don't take moments to actually ask ourselves, are these my beliefs? Are these things that I actually want to carry, or was this something that was taught to me? Nature versus nurture. We have a chance and opportunity through our whole lives to ask ourselves, is this something that I want to continue moving forward with? But we don't actually know that. No one actually tells us that you can actually change your mindset, and it is as simple as a decision. So when I invite you to do these resets, it's just for that. It's for you to take control of what you do and how you think and use your mind from this point forward. Strengthen your faith. Strengthen your spiritual health to receive guidance and allow your faith to be stronger than your doubts. The world is getting complicated. There's a lot of scary things happening. And a lot of us, we can't help but to function in fear. But that's not what God wants. He didn't create us to function in fear. So you want to make sure that you take your time to separate the two. You can be realistic about what you're afraid of, what makes you nervous, what brings you anxiety. But it should never be stronger than your faith and what God is putting in front of you and who He is in our lives. Identify and appreciate your gifts. Acknowledge the value of your unique abilities, talents, and strengths to maximize your potential. Like I stated, the things that we do naturally is where our purpose lies. If you love to talk, then you're probably supposed to do that with other people. It's a part of your purpose and it helps bring others closer to God. If you're good with your hands, you're supposed to build something, you're supposed to create something, you're supposed to use that talent for others. The things that we know how to naturally do, that we just wake up in any given Tuesday, we just are used to, it's a part of your purpose. We just kind of take advantage of it because we're used to it. But I'm sure if you pay attention to anyone else that you know, the other people that you learn, then you can see how different you are from them and vice versa. And that's the proof that this is for you. The things that come natural to you are for you, and they do have a purpose. I use my Truly You system that I created and put together is spiritually value based. There's 9 different things, and that sounds like a lot, but it is vital for you to identify your purpose. It's easy, sounds like a lot, but let me show you what they mean. The T is for truly, because you need to know who you truly are in this moment of time, not who you used to be, who you were in your 20s, who you were on Monday, just who you are in this point of your life. You need to be realistic about what that is so that you can get clear answers. Rectify. This is so that you can actually be objective about your life. Go through every part of it, personal, social, spiritually. You need to know where your obstacles lie, and then you need to rectify them. You need to correct what they are, start actively making a plan to work on them so they are no longer obstacles. Understand. You need to understand what it is that you need so that you can make sure for you to be your best self that you actually have it. And just understand the overall process so that there's no confusion. Evaluate. Everything that comes to your mind and comes to light as you go through these questions, you need to evaluate because you want to make sure that you are clear about what you will keep and what you will let go. You want to know what is supposed to stay and what is for you. If it doesn't serve you, you want to be clear about it. Listen. You need to listen to your heart. I want to let you know that each and every single one of you knows yourself better than anyone else. You know what feels good. You know what takes you down memory lane. You know what doesn't feel good. Your potential and your purpose lies in that. You have to listen to your heart. Too often, our brains will talk us out of something, but that heart, our spirits, knows who we are before we realize it. Y is for yielding. You need to yield to your transformation. In order to find out what your purpose is and to live out your full potential, you have to be willing to do the inner work to get there. I'm not saying that it's going to be as complicated as it sounds because everything is not as complicated as we believe. But you have to be able to make sure that you are ready for it. Yielding for your transformation is making sure that you're healthy, making sure that your body is able to carry out your potential. You can't do what your body will not allow you to. So there are parts mentally, spiritually, and physically that you have to hold yourself accountable if you want to be able to fulfill God's purpose for you. You, like I stated, You are your biggest critic, and you're probably the only thing standing in your way of your purpose. So you have to make sure that you hold yourself accountable. What your actions lie in your future depends on you. Observe. Observe how others play a role in your future and in your purpose. God did not create us to be by ourselves. We are supposed to use what He gave us to help other people. You are important. You are valuable. And there's only one you in the whole wide world. So therefore, when you don't show up, we're missing something. The world is here so that we all have our individual parts in it. All of us, we just don't know that and we don't realize. So therefore, the things that we're supposed to contribute to our world, we don't actually end up doing. Unique. Everything that you woke up that's inside of you this morning, it's you. That particular combination, no one else has. No one else has that combination. So you are very unique. And you just need to realize that, who you are. Now, like I said, this is the rundown of what I just stated to you, what this system actually stands for. The truly, rectify, understand, evaluate, listen, yield, you, observe, and unique. Now, excuse the screen because the way that it's saved, it can't fit all on the screen. So we wanted to make sure that you could see them. Now, these are the activities for each portion of the system, okay? Truly get to know who you are in this moment of time. By deeply understanding who you are in the present moment and nurturing self-love, compassion, and personal transformation, you empower yourself to lead authentically, creating a positive impact on your team's success, your team, your family, your community, by fostering a culture of self-awareness, clarity, and shared values. Now with this is going to get smaller, but like I said, I'm going to read it to you because I want you to be able to see the full picture so that you can see it. Okay. So with this worksheet, and like I said, I am going to upload this so that you can have it for yourself. So if you can't see anything here, I'm going to make sure that you guys take this home with you. Take a present assessment. You want to be honest with your answers and do not hold back. These are 7 questions that you should ask yourself because you want to get down to the core of it all. Ask yourself, do I believe I have potential? Are you using all that God has put into you? Why or why not? 2, what areas do I need to improve? You know yourself better than anyone else, and you know what areas are lacking in your life. So you know where to take your focus. 3, do I make time for me? Self-love is very important. We are harsh critics. We are harsh on ourselves. We are unforgiving. We don't, we don't do the things that we want to hold ourselves accountable for. But no one else is punishing you but you. Make time for yourself. As caregivers, we are very compassionate about being selfless and taking care of other people. But just like on an airplane, if you don't put your life vest on first, you can't save someone else. Your energy will be limited. It can't stretch as far as it needs to. So you have to make sure that you prioritize and make it a non-negotiable. I need such and such. If you know that you need 4, 5, 6 hours of sleep to be your best self, make it non-negotiable. This is something I'm going to have every day. If you know that certain foods give you your best energy, make sure that you eat them. If there are certain people that keep your spirit up and keep your energy alive, then you make sure you incorporate them regularly. But these are things you want to make sure that you make time for yourself. The world will grab at you, especially when you are a caregiver, when you are compassionate and you want to help people. When we want to help people, and I'm sure everyone here, that's why you're here. You want to know what your purpose is. You want to help people. Those people will grab and they will utilize your help. But that doesn't mean that they left you with any energy for yourself. So you want to make sure that you prioritize it for yourself. Number 4, who am I in this moment of time? We're consistently changing. Therefore, you need to be present for the best results. Do not chase dreams of who you were at 20, who you were at 30. That's not who you are today. Life has presented a new set of challenges. So, what are your titles? What are your roles? Who are you right now? You want to make sure that you are present in that knowledge, because this is where you have to understand how to delegate different tasks or what you need to do in your routine. What does the current you need? Am I happy with who I am? No one else's opinion about you matters, just you and the Lord's. You need to be happy with who you are and what you're contributing back into the world. It does not matter. It doesn't matter with your supervisor. It doesn't matter with your parents, your siblings, your family, your customers, your coworkers. It doesn't matter. You need to be happy about you. And most importantly, the Lord needs to be excited about who you are. Are you showing up for yourself first? Who do I want to be right now? All of us have an image or authority that we want to portray. You know what kind of person you want to be on a regular basis. So bring that to the forefront. Who is that and what does it look like? If you keep this in the front of your mind, then you can make sure that what you do aligns up with who it is you want to be. Because, like I said, it doesn't matter for anybody else. Last, am I willing to put in the work to be truly me? No one else is stopping you. If you don't show up for you, then you know where the problem lies. Rectify. You need to rectify all obstacles that are keeping you from being your best self. By identifying and overcoming obstacles that hinder your personal growth, this playbook empowers you to lead authentically, helping you build resilience and inspire your team, family, or community to overcome their own barriers, align with their true potential, and pursue their aspirations with confidence. There's a 6-step process for this. Now, I'll give you guys a heads up. This is a very concentrated 90 minutes. So there's going to be a lot of information that I'm going to try my best to give you the simplest form so that you can understand it for yourself. Now, with this 6-step process, this is the best that I believe will be to reflect on your obstacles. First, identify what your obstacles are. Then ask yourself, why are these obstacles? What exactly makes them an obstacle for me? And how can I counter them? You know what areas you're having problems with. So only you can sit still and really evaluate. So why is it so difficult? Why can I only make it to a certain part of the week with my exercise routine? Why is it that I can't seem to conquer that habit? I only get to a certain point before I stop. What is it about that or me that just kind of caps off? It's limiting. I'm sure we've all tried resolutions every year. There's promises that we've made for ourselves, but we can't seem to just get them to stick. So you want to make sure that you take that time to figure out what they are. It doesn't have to be 20 different problems. It might just be 1 or 2. So you want to make sure that you focus on what is it exactly that's keeping me from conquering this obstacle. Number 2, what roles in my life am I currently living in? Where did I get the definition of this role? Is this my definition? And do I agree? If not, clarify your definition of the roles. Too often, as like I said, most of our adulthood really stems from our childhood. The things that we were exposed to, the way that our parents taught us, the way that the world was in that moment conditioned us to believe a lot of different things that we hold on tight for the rest of our lives, but we're not to. The way that our parents instilled the information and the challenges and the teachings into us, it was based on their own lives, their own difficulties, their current environment, and their fears. But as you saw growing up, that didn't reflect your experience for your life. It may have been very valuable information, yes, but it doesn't take a role over your current situation and needs. So you have to reflect back. The things that I believe in, who taught that to me? Where did I see that? Identify your roles. If you are a mom, who are you reflecting the example that you are setting for yourself and for your family? Where is the definition coming from of what that kind of mom is supposed to be, what that kind of father is supposed to be, what kind of leader or student that you are? Where did you get that idea from? What is it that you are unconsciously doing on a regular basis to fulfill that role? But what if it's something you don't actually agree with? What if there's parts of that role definition that you are living up to, that you are making sure that you are strict with yourself to fulfill, but you actually don't agree with it? That's completely fine. Reevaluate and give your role a new definition. What kind of mom do you want to be? What kind of father do you want to be? What kind of sister? What kind of leader? What kind of teacher do you want to be? Define the roles that you are currently living according to your needs, your beliefs, and what it is that you want to put back into your world and environment. Because that's where it starts. You should be happy with the work that you're doing. It's your life and no one else can do this for you. But the things that we have been taught, they're aged. So you have to make sure that you're following your own lead with a lot of the things that we're doing. And one area, like I said, childhood. Who did you want to be growing up? Did you become that person? Why or why not? Consider the characteristics of that person, position, or role when you answer this question. Now, I say that because too often, as children, we get excited. There are things and people that we want it to be, and we don't know why. We have no clue why that particular character just pulls on our heart and we really wanted to follow it. But there's a reason. There's a reason that God put in you that makes that attracted to you. So what was it that you said a long time ago that you wanted to be? Let's say you wanted to be a lawyer. Did you ever become a lawyer? No? Okay. Why or why not? What are the characteristics of a lawyer that you wanted to be? Maybe you have a lot of questions. Maybe you're argumentative. Maybe you seek justice. Those characteristics that attracted you to that job, those are what's inside of you. Clearly, you want to make sure you get down to the problem and you want to help people. You have questions that need answers that only you seem to think about. Think about the characteristics and those things and people that you wanted to be when you were growing up and compare it to your life now. Did I fulfill those characteristics? Most times, those things from our childhood, that particular portion, it didn't go anywhere. Someone helps us to push it down as we grow up, and we think that those are childish things. We don't need them anymore. When you're in your childhood, that's when you were innocent. That's when you were pure. And those things that God put inside you, they were on purpose. He knew the purpose, you didn't. And they are valuable. So think about, who did I want to be when I was growing up? Because that will be the first inklings of who you're supposed to be now. Now, I'm not saying if you want to be Spider-Man, go climb a wall, but if you want to do something active and something that is adventurous, that's still there. Whether you are paying attention to it or not, it's still there. What are the people, places, and things in your life that are negative that you need to trade out for something more positive? Again, and consider your language. You know your life, you know what's not feeling good, you know what you would rather not deal with. Start thinking about different positive alternatives that will help them. You know, habits, they don't really change. We just kind of trade them out. So if you have anything negative, what else can you do that's positive to replace it? How sensitive are you? When I ask how sensitive you are, and when you're asking yourself this, think about, are you easily stimulated or triggered? This can be both negative or positive, okay? If things just get on your nerves real easily, well, why is that? If you get excited overly about everything, well, why is that? You're sensitive, so there's a reason. It's not a bad thing. We tend to not like that definition of being sensitive, but it's not a bad thing. Just find out what they are and what does it bring to your mind as it happens, as it comes up. Think about you personally. Are there things that stimulate you or trigger you in your personal environment? and in your professional environment. And try to ask yourself the why. Well, why is this getting my attention? Why can I not move on past this situation? Figure out why, because that's also going to give you some insight of your purpose. The things that we are sensitive to, again, God is highlighting them for you so that you can learn from it. There's something in that emotion you're supposed to take from it. So don't pass by your emotions so quickly. We tend to think that sensitivity is weakness, but as you see with the world around us, the world is being desensitized regularly, especially with social media. It's regularly being desensitized. And in that sensitivity is where our strength as well as our purpose lies, because we are responsible for making sure that people still understand that we are humans and that God is God and that we need each other collectively. So being sensitive during this time, 2025, is highly important. So do not ignore those emotions. And then you want to make sure that you practice honoring your first thought, that gut feeling, that intuition. You do this to build the trust between yourself and God. We are very smart creatures, but we don't know everything. That intuition, too often people think, well, I must have been right on point. I knew this was going to happen. I knew I shouldn't have did this, or, I knew I was so happy that I called you. That's God talking to you. That intuition is God's way of talking and communicating with you. We aren't that smart. So you have to give credit to where the source is actually coming from. You didn't know what was coming. So when you do preventive things or just things that end up having a whole ripple effect, trust that it was from God. And you want to make sure that you honor that, because you do know you and you want to stay connected to God in those moments, because that obedience with your intuition, that gut feeling, is very important. And I say to you all, following that intuition, especially now, is going to be vital for your purpose, your safety, and protecting your peace. Understand how to manage stress and emotions. By mastering stress management and emotional intelligence, you can lead with clarity and composure, guiding your team, family, or community through adversity with resilience, fostering a spiritually aligned and emotionally intelligent work environment. We all need to understand the power of prayer. If you do not pray, I invite you to. It's the quickest book you can read. It's the quickest meditation period when you don't know how to calm your mind. Being able to just sit still and say, I need help, or I need answers, or just help me with what I don't know. Prayers can be very simple. We make them very complicated, and they don't have to be. It's human nature to make things overcomplicated, and it doesn't have to be. It's very simple. There are a lot of different stress management techniques that we all can utilize, and I encourage everyone to find one that works for you. But in my experience, prayer works the fastest. It doesn't have to be out loud. It can be in your head. I gave this to you guys in the workbook just as a stimulator. So you can just, every day, you can ask yourself something really simple and request something from God, because He wants to help. You ask and you shall receive. And too often, especially when we're selfless and caring for other people, we tend not to ask for ourselves, but you want to stay there. Creator of all things, I humbly come to you and request your help with. I thank you for strengthening me to do what? Protect me from whatever. Give me clarity in the areas of. Something simple just to stimulate the prayer life, because it'll be very important to keep that stress down. A lot is coming, and it's coming at us fast. So you want to make sure that you pause in between your moments just to relax before you move forward. Get a reset. Ask God for new guidance. Ask for Him for new strength, because each moment presents a new challenge. Evaluate. Evaluate your perfect combination of simple activities to create inner and outer balance. By evaluating and adjusting your personal beliefs, biases, and lifestyle habits to create balance, you're not achieving personal harmony, but also fostering a diverse, inclusive, and balanced culture that thrives on shared values and mutual respect. I gave you guys a simple sheet to figure out. You know what goals you have for yourself. And like I said, ask yourself in this present time, right now, with who I am, what do I want to do with my time in my 24 hours, in the next month, in the next year, for the latter of my days? What is important to me? Do a date, set the date that you put down this idea. And of course, I invite everyone, have notebook paper, have a larger amount of paper to do all of these evaluations, because this is a workbook to get you stimulated. It's not going to be enough for your answers. So have a separate sheet of paper to answer these things when you take your time to go through them. Set your goal, set an estimated time frame for completion. Now, I invite you, do not chase outcomes. Enjoy the process. God teaches us in repetition and through the process. So you have a goal, but don't hold on to that goal so strictly that you cannot see what God is trying to do with you with trying to reach that goal. There's so much to learn in the process of trying to reach a goal. Identify your motivators and identify what demotivates you. Whatever makes you have more energy, that gives you excitement, that keeps you focused, make sure you understand what they are. And the things that distract you, that pull you away from your target, that keep you from reaching the goals that you have for yourself, make sure you know what those are too. Be realistic, because that's the only way you can counter them. How are you supposed to counter what you do not take the time to recognize? L, listen to your inner voice and heart to eliminate outside noise. By turning into your inner voice and intuition, you can eliminate distractions, unlock your creative potential, and inspire your team, family, or community to do the same, fostering an environment of innovation and focused leadership. Our answers lie within us. God speaks to each and every single one of us all the time. He speaks to us through our music. He speaks to us even through our scrolling when you're online. He'll talk to you through your devices. He will talk to you in the strangers that you walk past. Those random conversations that you have, God is a part of that conversation, and He is always talking to us. So you want to make sure that you are paying attention. How are these conversations and these unexpected words stimulating your heart? Be clear of what it is that's happening to you, because your heart is right there. It's connected to your spirit directly, and it speaks all the time. You want to make sure that you are listening to what your heart is telling you to do so that you can customize your life personally and professionally so that it suits you. We think that we're supposed to follow a very strict guideline, especially when it's in our professional realms. And no, you have your personal space that you can decorate and make it custom. When you put your clothes on in the morning, you get to choose what feels good, what's going to give you your power, what's going to give you your respect and authority. How do you want to present yourself? These are all personal touches that your heart guides. And it comes from your inner self, your self-expression. It's you. It's you. Whatever you need first, your heart and you, spirit, knows it first. So you want to make sure that you continue to practice in that area and highlight it with the rest of your life. Yield to the transformation. By embracing transformation with courage and openness, you lead by example, encouraging others to welcome change, build meaningful connections, and foster environment of growth and collaboration. You want to make sure that you are leading your life by example, okay? You want to make sure that you're leading by example, that you're not just teaching someone, but you're actually listening to the words that you teach. Too often, we give better advice than we take. So you want to make sure that God opens your ears for the things that you say to other people. Make sure that you're holding yourself accountable. Do I do that for myself? That sounds pretty good. But do I listen for myself? Too often, we'll find out that we might slack. But you want to make sure that you're healthy. Right now, you're asking your questions and you showed up today to get insight of your purpose. Now, what do you do when you get the answers? God wants to make sure that you can carry this out too. So you want to make sure that you are healthy overall. Actively safeguard and develop your spiritual, mental, and physical health. This is your responsibility. Now, look, the companies that sell junk food and Cheetos and Coca-Cola and caffeine, they're doing their purpose, okay? They're supposed to get you to want them and to desire them. They're doing good with their job, but you want to make sure you desire what you need for yourself and that you get it. It's your responsibility. If you know that I should walk 3 times a week for at least 15 minutes, maybe around the block or just down to the store and back, or just, get some exercise and breathe in some fresh air, make sure that you show up for yourself. When you show up for yourself, then you can show up for others that much better. And you want to make sure that you do. This is your priority. It's your life. These are your benefits so that you can be your best self. You want to make sure that you're making healthy decisions when it comes into all your relationships, platonic, romantic, business, family, food, and finances. A lot of people think when they think of relationships, we go straight to marriage and boyfriend, girlfriend, or cousin, family, sister, brother. We go to those intimate relationships and we don't realize that everything that we engage in, we are building a relationship with, whether it's intimate or whether we know it or not, but there's a relationship there. And you want to make sure that you are making healthy decisions in that relationships. Is there an imbalance? Do you feel that you are overwhelmed, whether it's food, your finances, or a person? Make sure that you evaluate all the ins and outs and the gives and takes. And you want to make, is it healthy? Are there moments where you just don't feel good about decisions that you're making in regards to those relationships? Your self-expression should be healthy. You want to make sure that what you're doing in your life and all the people that you are touching, you're helping a lot of people. We reach, even when you don't think that you're directly helping someone, you're always being seen and you're always being watched. There are people who see you walk down the hallway or how you enter a room and you don't know how it makes them feel. They could tell themselves, I wish I was like that one day. He has so much confidence. He's so strong. He's so compassionate no matter what he's going through. Or she's always so helpful. She's so beautiful and she doesn't even have to speak. You don't know, and we don't get privy to how we affect other people on a regular basis, but you are touching and moving lives every day, every single day. And you want to make sure that what you are portraying to others, you're also doing in your own life, because that just makes sense. You want to make sure that you are doing exactly what you're doing and you are who you said you are, because you are. But too often we get lost in between what it is that we're doing at home personally and what we're putting out there into the world. But you want to make sure that it's healthy both ways. Our connections, invest in meaningful interactions and build trust and understanding with each other is more important than ever. We have to get out of our comfort zones. We are building community with each other, but it's time to get outside into the world with people that you have not met, the people that you have not looked for. Find more connections. God needs you in other realms. You may not be comfortable because you have not been there before, but that's what God is saying to you. He is saying to you already, and I want to use you in other rooms. I want to use you in different environments because the people that need your help can't find you. You are wise, you are full of experience, and your wisdom is needed. Your kindness is needed. That love that you just can't help but just sprinkle everywhere you go, it is needed. We're comfortable in certain areas with like-minded people. But now, especially in 2025 and the things that are coming, we are not to keep that love and compassion amongst the people who are like-minded. We have to purposely go outside of these comfortable areas and reach those who can't find us. Because that's what God is looking for. He needs those people to be closer to him. He needs those people to understand that there is love in more places than I didn't know. These devices are making sure that we look at ourselves, that we pacify ourselves, and that we are distracted. So we have to make sure that we are diligent in making sure that our voices are heard. Through our voices and our connection with God, he will speak and he will be heard. But we have to make sure that we show up because the world is working very hard to keep us distracted. It's up to you to keep going. Plain and simple. By navigating challenges and with resilience and clarity, you empower yourself to pursue goals with confidence, setting an example for others to build self-assurance, stay committed, and continually evolve towards success. You have to choose you. You have to make sure that you protect you at all costs. God is trying to use you, so you have to make sure I am just not here for myself. I am chosen. I'm chosen to have this responsibility, and I need to make sure that I keep myself in a very well protected place so that God can continue to move me around where I need to be, because this is your purpose. Whether you think it's small as just a simple conversation or large as in actually putting together committees and different community activities, wherever you lie on this scale, it's important. And you want to make sure that you choose yourself and you choose to show up and be there because you are needed. Commit to the deep healing. Continue to soul search for deep rooted negativity, identify and confront any barriers. Focus on holistic healing. Like I stated, when you go through these different worksheets and you ask yourself these questions, God is going to reveal to you what you may have thought you forgot. God does not reveal things to us in real time just because today you said, I'm going to be better. It doesn't work that way because God knows when you are ready to receive it. And He also reveals things to ourselves when it's necessary and required for whatever we're going to be doing in our current lives. So, with you being here today, and this is what you have been pretty much privy to, and this is what God is saying to you, that means that something else is going to be brought back to the surface, especially when we're older. You're so used to thinking in a certain way that you may have thought, well, I'm fine. I'm okay. I've lived this long. I don't have any more questions. But I'm telling you, God always reveals Himself to us, and He always will bring things back to life. You'll be surprised what will come to you. So make sure that whatever comes to mind, whatever you remember, whatever sits on your heart from this moment forward, give it attention and find out why. Intentionally set and monitor your goals. Create SMART goals. We all need to create goals that we can actually reach, that we put a time limit on so that we can continuously make sure that we are moving towards that goal. But you want to make sure that you check in with yourself. How well am I doing? Are there things that I need to continue to learn? Do I need different resources or exposure? Whatever your goal is, like I said, big or small, now or later, it's your goal and it's important. So you want to make sure that you keep it in the front of your mind. As helpers and as leaders, the world is going to throw many different things to you. Everyone has a need. That's one thing that we actually mind ourselves with. We are here to help a need. We are here to be of service. But that also means that there's always going to be someone or something that needs you. Everyone has a goal. Your name is on it. You have to make sure that your goals also get accomplished. Don't let the world take all of your time. That's not your problem. That sounds rude, but it's true. We are God's children, and He is the one to fix things. We are here to be used and to help and assist, but it's not up for us solely to help every single person in the situations that they are in. That's not for you. So make sure that the goals that you have for yourself get reached and accomplished. It's not selfish taking care of yourself. It's not. And God is making sure that you guys understand that. Pay attention to you. Put your life vest on because you're going to need it with these days coming. You're going to need it. Embrace courage and truth. Identify the truth behind why what you do, what you do. Be brave and courageous in everything that you do. Every day is a new adventure. The way that you wake up is not necessarily the way that you will go down. In between, in that 24 hours, as we can see, anything can happen and it will. Several things happen to us on a regular basis. They come so much faster all the time now. You don't have time to praise or to cry. There's so much going on. And you can be confused and your spirit can get hindered. But God assures you, you are not to walk in fear. You are not to be succumb to the difficulties around you. because they're going to continue to come. You are going to have hard days. You are going to have uncomfortable moments. But God gives us the strength that with Him, we can do all things with God. So do not spend a lot of time being afraid or have anxieties or confusion. Take God with you every day, every moment. Wake up with Him and take your pauses in between everything you do. Before you get out the car, sit still with God before you go into the house. Have a moment, refresh your spirit. In these moments, He will strengthen you and give you the courage to move forward because, as you can see, life happens very quickly. You have no way of preparing for that next moment because you don't know what it's going to bring. But don't be afraid of what's happening next. Prepare yourself to receive what's happening next and do it regularly. Do it all the time. This will develop resilience and focus. Remember, failure is a learning tool. Create habits that support consistency and productivity. Gain tools to stay focused and your work and your tasks. Use your phones as alarms. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter how many you set, just use them. The world is busy and it will distract you. So the tools that we have, use them. Use your calendar, use your phone, use paper and notes, sticky tabs, whatever works for you. Talk to someone else, have someone else remind you. Work diligently to stay focused. There's so much happening and pulling on our emotions. There's so many tragedies and traumas. There's a lot happening, whether it's close to home or on the news. Make sure that you are strategic about reminding yourself and helping yourself keep to your goals. God does not want you to lose yourself in what's happening outside. So work hard about making sure you remind yourself. And we're just getting older. We forget stuff all the time. We just do. It's easy. It's easy to. So you want to make sure that you just make sure that you are focused on what's important. And what's important. Oh, observe how important others are to your purpose. By recognizing the importance of others in fulfilling your purpose, you foster meaningful connections, engage your team, family, or community, and empower them to embrace growth and transformation, creating a supportive environment that drives collective success. If the world was just about us by ourselves, it would be less crowded. So immediately we see that it's not just about us. The world is conditioning us to make it think that it's about us. People have social media pages with just their faces on it, talking about what they did, who they are, all the time. And we tend to think that this is our world. I'm creating it in real time and it's all about me. And it's not true. It's not true. We are here to work with others, and others are here to work with us. Just because you can't do it by yourself does not mean that you should. God never said that. Of course, it gets done the best way that you like and you really prefer when you do it yourself. But you're not supposed to do everything on your own. He made us as in two, him, her, helpmates. We are supposed to share the load. We are made individually to have our strengths, and there's things that we contribute to the table. But at no point are we supposed to just do this by ourselves. So help others by letting them in. Ask for help as well. See what you can contribute and help with other people. You are valuable. You are so important. Don't let anything inside your mind think that you are not. The way that you greet people, the way that you answer a question, you have no clue the ripple effect that you are doing in that person's lives. I'm sure we all agree that there are certain comments that people have made through your life's journey that you still replay in your mind. It still gives you constant encouragement, constant redirecting. We think about it all the time, whether that person knows or we got to say thank you or not. You know, a teacher from third grade, an uncle that you've only met once, right? Or your grandfather. There are things that we play in our mind all the time through our lives. And we are those people as well. Others need to be in our presence. They need to hear what we have to say. You might think it's small. You may think it's irrelevant, but it's not up to you to decide how God wants to use you. Just be present and be yourself. You have no clue how you are affecting others on a regular basis. On a regular basis. Recognize the importance of others in fulfilling your purpose, and reflect on the meaning of community. We have different definitions of what community means. So you want to make sure that you understand, what does it look it up in a dictionary. What is the exact meaning of community, so that you can be clear on who it is that you are thinking about with this. How has community impacted your life? What does your circle look like? What does your environment look like? How has it shaped you? Have you ventured into others' communities, or have you only ventured into your own? Community is bigger than just our neighborhood or the people that we see or the people who look like us. There's a whole world out here. So we have to make sure we broaden what community means. Of course, we are attracted to those who look like us, or like-minded people who are doing the same things that we are doing. But your expansion in the way that God wants to use you is outside of that community. God's community includes all of us, not just certain parts or groups. So we have to make sure that we are very realistic about what community means, not just in our eyes, but in the Lord's. Identify your role within your community and set your roles, your responsibilities in that role. Again, this is something that we have to make sure that we get very clear about. What do you mean to the others in your community? Are you a leader? Are you a helper? Do you bring resources? What is your title? What are your contributions into your community? What is it that you're bringing to help others in your immediate community? Accept it. A lot of us, we just think that only in certain groups does the word community actually get activated. No, it's 24/7, just like life. It's all the time. But are you keeping it in the front of your mind? And are you actively participating with helping your community and building it? Because you have to build the community you want to see. Each and every single one of you have an idea of what you would like to have surrounded for yourself, what kind of environment you want to live in, what kind of environment you want your family to live in, what kind of environment do you want the rest of your community to have for themselves. You can kind of see it, especially as caregivers and people who love and want to be of service. You know what's needed. So start working on it. Do not limit yourself to that perfect moment of eventually. Make your small steps. Make your signs, your hellos, your greetings, the opportunities, and just sometimes your idea. Did you know that your idea is not necessarily just for you? It's for you to speak it out loud so that the person who has the tools gets to hear it and you get to open something in their heart. I never thought about that. Wow, it makes sense. I'm so glad I got to talk to you. We think that we're supposed to actively have our hand in all kinds of different things, and that's not necessarily true. God uses us in so many different ways. And sometimes just you talking, a regular conversation, stimulates the other person's purpose and gets it activated. So just give, be yourself everywhere. Lastly, unique. Optimize your unique gifts. By optimizing your unique gifts and aligning with your true purpose, you lead with authenticity, inspiring others to discover and cultivate their own strengths, fostering a culture of continuous growth and alignment with shared goals. You want to be clear about who you are. And you want to make sure that you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I see me. I know who I am. I know why I'm here. We spend our whole lives trying to figure it out, looking outside of ourselves, reading books, watching videos, trying to get these answers, but it's inside of you. And you have it. Everything that you need to get this purpose answered is inside of you. You want to be able to identify and appreciate your gifts. What am I good at? What comes natural? What am I taking advantage of that I just didn't even realize was even special? And that's everything from just being able to organize. a good communicator, a problem solver? Are you someone who sees a need and knows how to fill that need? Are you smart? Do people come to you asking questions? Do you have knowledge and wisdom that you just don't even know exactly where it came from? Are you someone who has had a lot of life experiences and you're very knowledgeable in so many different realms where you can break down and make things make sense on a simpler level so that others learn from you? You're good at it. It's you. You're used to you, but that's why you're amazing. Not just because you're old, just I'm just me. No, you're amazing. And no one else can do it the way that you do. So appreciate that. Don't take yourself for granted. You, the combination that makes you, you is one of a kind. It's one of a kind. And you want to make sure all those things, like I said, your strengths, the things that are just natural to you, share it with others. Do it on purpose. You can pick one gift about yourself and then just be strategic. Try to use that one gift on purpose every day. Like do it for a week and see what kind of experiences God uses you to use that for. If you're just naturally a loving person and you just want to share a hug, hug someone, just one person every day. And it'll be perfectly timed. Something that you have no clue where someone is in their life. And they can tell you, this today was going to be my last day. But when you hugged me, everything went away. Things like that happen all the time. And we just don't know what our input is going to do for others. But just show up. Like I said, practice a gift. Just one, just pick one and alternate every day. Do it intentionally, just one time, and see what God shows you about yourself. Find opportunities to contribute and provide value to your community. Do it one time. Pick a group that you would not normally go to, or be more active in the groups that you're in. But just do it on purpose and see where it takes you. Helping people can't be bad, but it can be in balance. So make sure that you are taking care of yourself too, but do this in different areas so God can expand your mind and expand your help and expand your territory. Declare your non-negotiables and set clear boundaries to protect your peace. Again, that's why that was in the front. You need to know what you need. Whatever you declare, whatever boundaries you set for yourself, whatever hours you decide, I'm not answering my phone. I am off the clock. And this is personal and professional. I'm off the clock during a certain time. Honor yourself. That's what answer machines are for. Text messaging. You will get back to them when you can. Just because your phone rings does not mean you're supposed to answer it. Just because you get email sent to you, you don't have to respond immediately. I invite all of you, no matter what you are, what you're doing, what your status are, just because someone asks you a question does not mean that you have to give them an immediate response when they asked you. Don't do that, because then you're reacting. Give yourself time and grace. Think about your answer. I will get back to you. Get back to them. But make sure that you declare for yourself, is this something I want to do? Do I have time to do it? Can I do it? Sit in God's presence. Should I do it? And then you get back to them. Make sure that your yeses are yeses and your nos are nos. If you think when someone asks you a question, can you do this, or I need your help, and you don't want to immediately say yes, then maybe it's an immediate no. If it's not easy, you don't have to make yourself do anything or agree to anything. It's okay. It can be for a good cause. It can be for a very helpful reason, but you have to make sure that you honor yourself and that intuition. There's a reason why you're stalling to answer. There's a reason that you did not want to just immediately say yes. It's a good cause. Why would I not want to help the children? Why would I not want to participate in that activity? Yes, it's an amazing time, but that doesn't mean that you're supposed to be there. It doesn't mean that you have to be there. We're very loyal people, and we want to make sure that we honor our word. But who gave you that word? Are you feeling obligated because you're a good person? You'll still be a good person even if you say no. Saying no is not a bad thing. It's yes, and there's no. There's 50-50 chance you're going to get both. Other people exercise their reasons to say no, and you get to too. God might have other plans for you on that particular day. If you fill up your schedule full of different things and you don't feel 100% yourself to do everything, then guess what? Then all your energy is not there. And then you're left at the end of it just overwhelmed or tired, drained. I did too much. I knew I should have stayed home. Exactly. You knew it first. You knew it first. So honor yourselves by giving yourself a moment before you answer yes to anything brought to your attention, but you put yourself first and you set your boundaries. Whatever you set for yourself, the world will comply. We don't think that is true. We don't think that it's going to happen with our spouse or our children, especially not at work. If you're not in a supervisor position, you think that no one's going to give me what I need. It's not true. You haven't asked. You haven't asked for it. Tell the world what you need. And those who respect you, who love you, who care about you, they will make sure that they move accordingly because they don't want to hurt you. They want to make sure that you get what you need too. And sometimes it's innocent. The people around us, because we never asked for help, they don't even know you need it. They don't know how they can contribute or show you their appreciation. They don't know how to say thank you for who you are just because they don't have the opportunities. So don't block your blessing by not setting boundaries either. Set your boundaries personally and professionally. Set your boundaries. It's going to be very, very important moving forward. Now, this part, I'm not necessarily going to go through all of the questions because I'm going to send this with you so that you can ask yourself. I will say the initial portion and I will name the activity, but then I'll leave it for you to actually read through. Now, this I gave to you because I want you to have a way to start. Everything that I just explained to you go underneath each part of the system. Now, this is how you get your legwork started. This is how you get your questions geared up so that you can start giving yourself a new routine to regularly really transition. This is going to be what expedites everything that you need for yourself to get these questions answered. Now, I set it up for a 5-week calendar for 30 days. Every week, you will take time to ask yourself these questions, to sit and meditate in it, to pray over them, and then you will do the activity. Okay? Now, like I said, I'm going to make sure this is in the chat so that you can grab it. The first week, find out how long you can sit still. Everything moves so fast now. We're so antsy. We have no clue how to just sit still, unoccupied, not having something in our hands, not thinking about what I'm supposed to do next. Your mind, you have to be able to sit still. In our silence, everyone, is when you can hear God the clearest, when we are quiet, not when our minds are moving and not when we are occupied. So you have to retrain yourself how to sit still, okay? The activity, sitting still for 15 minutes every day in silence. You'll be surprised how many of us cannot do it. We don't know how to sit still. And sometimes for me, especially if the day's busy, I don't know how to do it without drifting off and going to sleep. So sometimes you just have to be able to sit still. It's going to be very important to protect your peace and keep your energy moving forward. That next week, ask the uncomfortable questions. You want to ask yourself why 5 times for every question. This one takes a little bit more time. And you don't have to do everything on here for each week. Like I said, goals are things to reach for. Don't beat yourself up trying to get all these things done in the week. If you feel that you need more time with the questions that come, take your time. Move to the next section as you can. And if you feel like, well, I'm good in this area, I don't need that, then skip it. Go to the next one. These are goals. They're not guaranteed like you have to do this the way that I said. Just if you don't need it, keep moving. And if you need more time, get more time. Ask yourself why each time. So if you ask yourself, why is it hard for me to wake up in the morning? First, why? Because I don't like mornings. Okay. Why do I not like mornings? Because when I was growing up, I hated the way the alarm clock sounded when it used to wake me up. Why do I hate the sound of the alarm clock when it used to wake me up? Because I didn't like having to be rushed in the morning. I had trouble sleeping and I wanted to say sleep. I don't like school. I don't like work. Why did you have trouble sleeping? Why did you not like being rushed? Why do you not like work? Why do you not like school? Do you see what I'm saying? Where when you ask yourself for why, it brings you into a deeper level of the answers that you are seeking. The surface answer, that's not the best one. That's just the first one. When you are seeking for true guidance from God, it brings you into a level of new whys and new questions. When we speak to God, it's not just, well, what am I supposed to do? There's a series that should happen because each question, each why brings you a new revelation of what this is. So back to that first easy question, why you don't like mornings. Now, because I asked myself that 5 times, I don't like mornings. And now I know I don't like mornings because I don't like being rushed and that school or work is problematic for me and I don't feel comfortable. Now you know that you have associated every bad morning with maybe a certain particular experience. Until you go through those levels, you don't know why. You don't have your truth. So it's important. So every question that you do ask yourself 5 times, get to a deeper why, and then let that be where you start this part of this journey for. What needs to be removed? If it doesn't feel good, get rid of it. How can you bless other people with the things that you have and the things that you're doing? Just whatever it is for yourself, purge through your house, purge through your car, purge through your work environment. Just, it's time to clean it all out. God wants you to open your hands so that he can bless you with more. You can't hold on to what God is bringing to you if your hands are full, if your house is full, okay? Make some room. Clear out some room for what God wants to bring into your life. Ask for help. Like I said, prayer, meditation, being able to sit still, just tell God what you need. It doesn't have to be fancy or drawn out. Sometimes, Lord, help me. Just help says everything. So just get into practice of being able to do that. Relinquishing control, because we don't have control of everything. You can just control yourself, but just let God have it. And I'm going to let you know, it makes life easier when you don't even expect or pretend like you know everything. Lord, what are we doing today? What will get done today? God, just help me. Make it simple, whatever your prayer needs to be. And for the end of the month, from the 28th, 29th, 30th, or 31st, whatever those days are. Now, this you have to customize for yourself. You need to fast. For as far as food, the best results is a water fast. But everyone is not able to do that, especially with the different health issues. We're not always able to actually accommodate a water fast. Just try for maybe a couple hours, 24 hours. If you can, the full 4 days or whatever, the end of the month from the 28th on, try to fast. This will put your body into an immediate place of detoxification, purifying, and realignment. If you're able to do this fast every month, it's a reset button. It is a reset button, and it's a declaration to yourself, I am new. I have gotten rid of the old, and I will be new with my full strength every month. Ask yourself as well, what else can I fast? If you think you watch too much TV, fast television. If you do too much outside activity versus inside, then maybe fast. Choose to let one of those go during these couple days. But just whatever it is, you decide for yourself, what can I let go of on purpose? Just intentionally set something to fast and watch that become a new habit. You will learn something in those moments because you chose to do something else with your time. Immediate results, not eventually, immediate results when you do these. This last page, this just lets you know things that we already know. What distracts us? Okay, sleeping too much, slacking off, social media, screen time, not having enough sleep, listening to too much music, having a sedentary life, and just not being able to be out there with more people. If you can't get balance in these areas, they are a hindrance. So you want to make sure that you take care of it. Now for this, I invite you all every quarter as far as to get more insight on a longer period. I have a 4-hour transformational workshop that I do every quarter. This year's theme is fulfilling your purpose. March, the first round, March 8th, is reframing success. This is because you can't be successful if you aren't the one defining the word success. Others can try to tell you what it takes to be successful, but it has to be your own definition and what you're living for. What is your purpose that you're living for? And if it's not your purpose, then whose is it? During this transformational period, these 4 hours, I make sure that I give you real-time activities so that you can get those deep questions answered for yourself and start actively working towards your purpose and revealing it to yourself now. I'm all about making it easy so that it's real time, right now, not eventually. Of course, the journey is everything. You can go to my website to look up the information. And like I said, I'm going to give this to you so that you will have it. Now, Geneva, this is the end of this presentation. I can upload this in the chat so that everyone can grab this material.
Yeah, Penny, that would be great. And I think I can also email it to everyone who registered. I know there was a request in the chat for the workbook. So if that is something you're comfortable with, I'll send it out to everyone who registered as well.
Yes, I am definitely comfortable with that. And let me see, I'm loaded up now for you. Let's see.
So that may not work because it looks like it's coming from a link from your desktop. So
Okay.
why don't you just email it to me and I'll make sure to get it to everyone who's on the call and who registered, because they can watch the presentation later, the people who weren't able to make it, and they'll have the workbook as well.
Okay.
So I think we have maybe 9 minutes. Did you want to maybe open for questions? I did receive a question in the chat already. So the first question I have here is, what acts of kindness can we show to people who are not kind to us? Is it always appropriate to show kindness?
Yes, it's always appropriate to show kindness. We have enough people not. We don't need any extras. And one thing that's appropriate that you can show for somebody who is not being kind to you, just listening. Because a lot of times that compassion and not reacting to what they're putting out there, it changes them. They're confused. A lot of people, they're trying to get attention or they're trying to get a reaction out of you, but you don't know where it's stemming from. The things that they're making them upset has nothing to do with you. And we usually know that. We're like, I didn't deserve that. I didn't do anything for you. But it's not about you. This is something that is turmoil inside of them. And not reacting to them does a lot because they usually set them back. They're confused. Continuing to be kind means a lot. Even if they continue to be rude with you in that moment, or they just walk away and leave because you're not responding correctly, it sticks with them, the fact that you didn't. There are some people that will fight with them back, who will retaliate, but the fact that you continue to be kind anyway, it does something to them and they can't help but think about it later on. Well, why was that? And what happened? Or you know what? I was wrong. I shouldn't have done that. So even in our silence, can we be an example? So sometimes you don't have to do anything.
And I believe also honesty is being kind. So to say something with good intention and compassion, but to also speak the truth is very kind.
It is. Delivery is everything. Most of the things, if you say it in a rude, aggressive manner, then they're responding to how you delivered it, not necessarily what you said. But you can be honest all the time, and you can take you can pick your audience, because some people just they don't want to hear the truth. But I agree, the truth is where our answers lie. And when you, if someone's nasty, but you continue to tell them, oh, okay, well, it's all right, or you're just interesting, and you're not telling them the truth, they can't fix it. They can't work on themselves if you're not honest with them. So honesty, yes. Honesty is definitely the best policy for sure. Thank you for that, because you're right.
And I want to thank you for saying, in one of your tenets, you said, practice honoring your first thought, your gut feeling, your intuition. And that's building your trust between you and God. And that really stuck out to me, because to me, that's a main and important ingredient, and it's a skill, but I rarely see that written or talked about, even in seminary, where people say, first of all, develop your intuition, trust it, do the practical skills to help you develop it, build your agreements. Like in groups I'm in, one of the ground rules is to blurt. Don't be so super polite. We talk about in Missouri that we're Missouri polite, so go ahead and blurt out. If it's relevant, say it with compassion, because that will move the rest of us along. But so I just want to honor that you said that. I just see there's a whole, semester long course in developing and honoring your intuition, your gut, and saying it. And I would say, I don't think I'm right. I don't necessarily think this is the right answer, but I'm asking, you asked me from my perspective, I'll give it to you, but it's just one perspective, but I'm going to tell you that. So.
No, you're right. A lot of times, in this field, anything, especially when I was just a spiritual purpose coach, I had to be very careful with the word spirituality, because a lot of people are so sensitive and they get offended. But that's why with what I'm doing, I say God. Your definition of God and who you follow, of course, it goes in a lot of different ways. We have so many different faiths, but there's supposed to be one God who created all of us. He made 12 tribes. We are all separated. We can do and contribute a lot of different things, but one God. And you have to be bold in that, so that everyone is very clear where you're coming from, as well as your intentions. And a lot of times, especially in business or in different educational fields, we are forced to be very careful. We have to be very, very strategic with how we position the wording, what we say to others, because you don't want to be offensive. And I understand that. But you have to make sure that you are coming from a place of truth with all that you're saying and what you're doing. Then that's the difference. Some people have different motives, and they can't handle what's coming from others when they're uncomfortable. But I know that I'm coming from a place of truth. So any challenges that are going to come, I'm ready to deal with and let God deal with, so that I can just bring the truth to my audience. Everyone doesn't necessarily have that required piece to be able to do that, because it is a very tricky area. It is.
And if you and I were working together, I'm at one point I might say, I honor the fact that you use a pronoun for God, a masculine one, and that works for you. I would say, so Dr. Owens, when you and I are working together, when you say he, I'm going to wince, because that's not my experience, but I'll honor that works for you. So we're going to continue to be buddies. We're going to continue to work together, but you may see me every once in a while just wince, and that's why. And then we can open the door to talk more about that, but just to be honest about that.
You know what? And I'm thankful for that, because God made us in his likeness, right? We are limited as humans in our definition. He made women and men. So who's not to say that he's omnipresent and omnis with all of it, that he has both? I'm sure God doesn't need body parts. So it is all inclusive, but we're just limited on the words that we can explain and describe such a powerful being. We have no clue. So we just do the best with what we have. And there's only but so much words. And oh my goodness, don't let me get on the English language by itself. So, So I'm totally, that's fine with me because I'm like, you're not offending me. It's fine. That is truth. And it makes sense. It makes sense.
I see someone has written in the chat they prefer the word creator.
Yes,
Yeah, and in an interface space, obviously, there's a myriad of ways that we can um, use language to describe God, and it's going to look differently for everyone. And we often have
yeah,
people who, are spiritual but not religious, or atheists, or agnostic, or secular humanists. So, um,
exactly.
or from non-monotheistic and non-Abrahamic traditions as well, who may not actually subscribe to the motif of a monotheistic singular God. So
Exactly. I use creator of all things
yeah,
often to be all inclusive. But like I said, with all the differences that we have, it's really hard to capture all of it. As well as I'm a firm believer that we have to make sure that we are intentional and that we come with the purpose of learning and make sure that we are open, listening to when people are speaking, not just our reaction to what they're saying, like be active. And as long as you're there with that intention to learn, then you should be okay. Because we get distracted trying to be quote unquote right. And it's like, can you focus on what's being said?
definitely. And I think, Maggie, not reacting to the pronoun usage, but really still hearing where you're coming from and honoring that and what you have to share. I think that's a perfect example. So are there any other questions? I do want to open up the floor to anyone else who might have a different kind of question. Feel free to raise your hand or to put a question in the chat. Reverend Bati, you have your hand up? I think you're muted.
Yeah, I'm with you now. So, well, the presentation and that your talks and words are very powerful. One thing I want to know, I know the reason. Sometimes there are some certain barriers when we are praying. Although it's before that, it's good that you should quit your ego and accept accept that God is the creator, and that sometime we proud of that He is give us a you. I am the light. Thereafter, He gave us a honor that you are the light of the world. You are the light of the world. So my questions are not similarly any, but I appreciate your all things. This session, is this session will be a weekly?
Will it be weekly? No, it's not set up that way to be
Okay,
weekly.
okay,
Now I do, especially if you go to my different
okay.
if my different sites. Like I have an intentional Tuesdays that I do every Tuesday at noon Central Standard Time on Facebook. That is
Oh,
something
I
that
see.
I do free. I do women healing sessions every first Sunday. I do that
Oh, wonderful,
Eventbrite.
wonderful.
And then, like I said, I have a quarterly 4-hour transformation workshop that I do March,
Okay.
June, September, and December. So there are ways
Oh,
to get in contact with me for any questions and just to, when you just need a quick guidance. You have something on your mind, you have something on your heart, and you just need some clarity. I'm up for
mm.
building that relationship and being of service. So there
That's
are
good.
ways to get in contact.
That's good. Very good session and very good talk. And what I know in my personal life, I have not done anything without calling, because calling is very must. And when you pray that if God wills,
Mhm.
then you can do everything. And it's my better experience of my life that without calling, you will be not successful.
Nope, I agree. And it saves you a lot of time. When you
Okay.
when you put yourself in a place of not being in control, it gives you more options, as well
Yes.
as you don't have to beat yourself up for I didn't do it. It's because that's not in front of you. I like to tell everyone, if you have, let's say you have things to do, you have a goal list of 5 things you want to get accomplished today, but only
Yes.
2 get done. That's the
All
2 that
right.
were supposed to get done. That's what God put in front of you. That's what how things lined up, because life happened and it gave you got a lot of different interruptions, and you have to be okay with that. These are the things that were meant for today. Try again for the others tomorrow, but every day
Yes.
life changes
Every
so
day.
quickly, changes so quickly. So you just ask yourself, you want to sit and pause. Am I,
Mm.
just because you can does not mean you should. Okay. Just because it's positive, it's okay. But if it's too much or if it's imbalanced, that's just a fact. We have to separate ourselves from our tasks so that we can move the way that God is leading us, the way that the Creator is leading our steps. If it's an easy yes, that's one thing. But if it's not an easy yes, then it's probably an easy no. Pay attention to how you feel, because your spirit knows where you should be with what you're doing. So I think that that's awesome that you do that.
Thank you. You told that
Your audio is breaking up a little bit, Reverend Batia. Can you say it one more time?
Sometimes that happens. Especially when the
And-
conversation gets good, all of a sudden the technology is like, no, they're making sense. We can't keep this going.
Can you say it one more time? Or I think, okay. um, Shukla, you have a question? I'm not sure if I
Yes.
said your name right. I'm sorry.
Yes, thank you so very much, because this is a very, very um, empowering, session. That one thing is that one question sometimes I feel, should you wait for the calling or should we call?
Well, I would
Or
say,
should we, let me just put it this way, sorry. Should you wait for calling
Mhm.
from above, or should we put efforts in the form of calling so that we get the calling?
like I said, with your intuition and that gut feeling, God talks to us regularly. The Creator talks to us regularly. We keep thinking that it's supposed to be this thunderous voice coming from the clouds. That would scare the crap out of you if that happened, okay? We don't respond that way, nor does God have to talk to us that way. The Creator is in tune with His creation, and He speaks to us all the time, okay? So you just have to quiet down your mind enough to hear what's happening. Don't look for God, the Creator, the way that you think it's supposed to be. Allow yourself to be shown how He speaks to you. Let's say that you love music. You know the words of the songs. So if a song is presenting itself and it's pulling on you a little differently, listen to those words. What are they saying? God is using that song to talk to you. Okay? The things that we see in repetition, pay attention to it. It's highlighted. God is using this to get your attention. If you see blue everywhere, if you have a certain fragrance that you're saying, or a statement that more than one person has made, what is that statement and how does it feel when you hear it? I say when it comes to your calling, you're already there, you're being called, which is why you're asking the question. So that's not a question anymore. Are you being called? But what is He saying to you? Quiet down your mind to feel. When you are sitting still, use your 5 senses, your smell, your hearing, your thoughts, your emotions, right? Like you use all
You
these
mean to be mindful?
just being present.
Present, yeah.
What are the thoughts that are coming to you in that moment? Because when we speak to God, you can speak to Him silently. Lord, make your presence known. Like just sit still. And what comes to you is your answer. Don't think about it 2 and 3 times. Don't make it make sense to you. Acceptance is most of the battle. Just accepting what's being brought to you. If you ask God, well, what is my purpose in life? I need clarity. What is my calling? And then all you're thinking in yourself is that Well, I like questions. That was the answer. So ask all the questions that you have. Because, like I said, you asking questions, something simple. The rest of the people in the audience who don't have the courage to ask questions or don't know what the question may be, you asked the question that was on their mind that they needed to hear. God used you to ask the question to stimulate what he needed in other people.
Mhm.
And it's just that simple. It doesn't have to be an act, a service, or a task. If that's what come to you, I like questions. Every time I think about something, I just get more questions. Then you be the best question asker out there because you're going to stimulate what's needed in other people. And that's God's job to finish out that work. So acceptance, what you get, that's it.
Thank you.
Were there any final questions or comments before we wrap up? I know we're about 10 minutes past our scheduled time now.
Right.
Any other questions?
Are you sending recording of this? Are you recording this session?
Yeah, so we have streamed live to YouTube and to Facebook. So I will send the YouTube link out to everyone along with the workbook that Pennie mentioned and any other materials that she'd be willing to send out. We'll get that to everyone who registered.
And you said that file wouldn't work. It's not
Yeah,
a
I think because it's a link from, see how it says like the file, it's a C drive file. I think it's from your desktop, so it's not clickable.
okay.
So if you can just send it to me, I'll get it to everyone.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Yeah, of course. Okay, well, I'm not seeing any more hands. So thank you so much, Pennie, for this presentation. I was very motivating, and I think given the current situation in North America, this is much needed at this time to kind of have this space to recenter ourselves and kind of become re-empowered to live into our purpose and to help one another. So I'm very grateful for what you presented today, and thank you to everyone who joined us. We hope that you will. We have a lot of Interfaith Center programming coming up this month, both in person and online. We have a virtual event on February 11th about Ramadan. So we hope that you'll join us for that as well, and subscribe to our mailing list. You can get information about all of the events. And again, welcome Pennie to our board of directors at the Interfaith Center. We're very happy to have you. I see Fatima has welcomed you in the chat as well.
Hi. Thank you, everyone, for this moment. I do not take it for granted. I'm very excited that everyone chose to be here for this moment. That is huge. It's very powerful. The way that you go to sleep tonight, you'll wake up different. So I'm really grateful, and I have my popcorn. I'm just going to watch and see what everyone's doing with themselves. I'm excited.
Thank you, Pennie. So thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day or evening or morning, wherever you are in the world. Bye, everyone.